Hi everyone, welcome to Anthony's Hobby Corner, and on today's video we're going to be doing a quick service of a vintage Fleischmann V100 Switcher Locomotive. This one is not in the best shape, but for its age it's not in too bad of condition. And this one does run. I did purchase this one from online, and obviously it's used, but I got it at a very reasonable price, and I figured it's worthwhile just giving it a full service inside and make sure that it's well lubricated and so on and so forth. I do have another one here that I've had from a previous purchase. Now this one's in much better condition, as you can see, and I did service this one as well, and it's been running really well ever since, so it's not due for another service for at least a little while now. So just wanted to give you a quick comparison on the condition of these. These are nice little locomotives. They're kind of fun to run in your layout. The only problem I have with these is the fact that the axle spacing on the truck on these ones are just such that they're identical to the gap on a or the dead spots on a Pico switch that I use, or points. And so as a result, these kind of come to a little momentary dead stop on those switches. But in any case, with a sufficient momentum, it kind of goes past it. But other than that, I love these little switchers. They're really fun to run. This one has a couple of cracks or something like that on here, but a little bit abused. But I'm going to give it a good little cleanup and get it back into good running shape. Alright, so the first step here is just to remove the shell, and it's just with one screw. And the shell just comes right apart. Let's put that aside for now. I will be washing that shell with some soap and water later on as well. Put the screw, a little container there. So as you can see, these are very simple. Now usually these come with a little weight that goes on, a lead weight that goes on top of this bulb here. Of course this one happens to be missing that lead weight, but it's okay, I can make do with that. I can figure out something else to address that, but locomotive will still run regardless. And here you can see the two bulbs on both sides, and there's a diode rectifier here to give your bulbs a directional lighting, and the usual Fleischmann motor that you would see with the usual fixings. You got your coil in there and so on. So now these ones are a little bit interesting to service, because if you want to pull the motor out, you gotta pull out the screw from here from under the truck and then pull it apart. Whereas you'll notice on the pickup truck there is really no screw here. If you really want to open it, you actually have to go through the top. You have to pull out this PCB board, and then there's a screw inside it to dismantle this the pickup truck if you really needed to. But in my case, it's actually in very good shape, and the wheels look really clean here as well. So I don't think I'll have to go into that extent, but we'll take it as it comes. So first piece here is to service the motor. Now you've seen many videos that I've shot on how to service these motors, so I'm going to go through it fairly quickly, and let's go through the process of actually removing the faceplate and the brushes, and then we'll clean the rotor, the armature inside, lubricate the gear wheels and the motor armature appropriately, and the axles, and then we'll put them all back together again. Alright, so we're going to first remove this little screw here at the bottom. Now this one is quite tricky. It's a very shallow screw, and it's a little hard to put back sometimes, but anyways, here we go. There it is. Actually, I just realized that rather than unsoldering this black wire to give it some slack so I can pull the motor out, I can actually pull out this little screw here with the connector pin that's connected onto the chassis, and that'll give it the room that I need rather than unsoldering it. So I'm gonna pull the pin out, put the screw away, and now I have the room to pull this thing out. Go. And this seems fairly clean too. It's just that I noticed that the commutator was quite dirty. So in any case, when you go to pull this motor apart, always keep in mind that two screws are very similar except for the one on the top. The one actually has a washer, an insulating washer, to make sure that the coil that connects to the opposing brush doesn't short with the chassis, because this brush here is in sync with this, is connected to the chassis to the black pin here, and therefore you to make sure that this red washer, insulating washer, always goes on the top where the coil goes. So now we're just going to pull open the motor. Before I do that, I'm just going to make sure I can pop the caps here and take the brushes out so they don't go flying out. There's one cap. And so what I like to do with the brushes here, I'm going to take the other cap out as well. Ooh, that one looks all mangled up. I can see the spring is all mangled up. So what I'm going to do here, typically I like to put the brushes in a little container and rinse them and wash them out. So I'm using one of these old pill containers. I used to use this little container here, but this fits equally well. So I'm just going to take the brush here, and this brush seems to be in good shape. So put it in there, and then take this brush. Now you'll notice that this brush here seems to be the spring seems to be a little bit mangled up. Oh, and it's caught on the yeah, the springs are not in the best shape in this one, but either way I can get it going. So we're gonna keep the spring in there as well, and then just so you can tap the brush. There's the brush. It's in okay shape. Put the brush in there. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit of electrical contact cleaner in here. So that container actually had a crack in it, so I had to move the brushes into this whole container here again. So there's some more contact cleaner in there, and make sure we clean those brushes in. So I'm going to let them soak in this contact cleaner for a bit. Alright, now we're going to pull out the cover. And we've removed the motor from the drivetrain. So we're going to clean that as well, and actually it's in fairly decent shape. The coils look a bit dirty, but I can clean them up. Okay, Okay, so I just removed all the screws and put them in here as well. Just make sure you always remember that the long screw is the one that holds this insulating washer to the chassis. So that's the longer one, and the two shorter ones actually go to the both bottom here. Okay, so let's just take this out here carefully. Yep, got the faceplate out. Now, when you take the faceplate, and of course everything separates now, so now you have the drivetrain that's been separated. It's fairly decent shape, but I'm gonna clean it up actually. So put that aside for now. Then you also have the heart of the motor with the rotor and commutator visible. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind when you do this is that when you remove the faceplate, always watch for this little thrust washer here. It's a little nylon plastic washer. Sometimes it's milky white, sometimes it's transparent, but either way you got to make sure that it doesn't stick onto the back of the faceplate here, and then as you clean the faceplate you may lose that washer and then you're in trouble. That washer is absolutely a must for these motors to function properly. And it's a thin little washer that sits here. It's really hard to see, but there it is right there. Just to be able to raise it up a bit. That's the washer that you got to make sure that doesn't fall somewhere. I like to keep it on the shaft here, as it always is, because that way you know it's not going to fall somewhere. All right. So the next step here we're going to do is we're going to clean the commutator. As you can see, it's all gunked up. And this really is the heart to getting your locomotives to run properly again, is to have a absolutely clean commutator. So let me just get my chemicals to clean this up. And typically what I like to use is some contact cleaner with a cotton bud first to remove the gunk, and then what's remaining is residue. I like to use some Brasso and clean it up and polish it up, and it comes really clean. It comes almost brand new. Alright, now we also have one option here as well, is to remove this whole magnet from the sleeve, but don't really have a need to do that. I mean, everything looks really clean inside. So, alright, so let's just get the chemicals and clean up the rotor and commutator and the faceplate. Alright, so I got some contact cleaner on a cotton bud here. Just gonna start to clean this. You can see how it dissolves all that burnt, all that carbon residue from the brushes as they connect with the commutator. Just gonna clean the magnet here and stuff. So you can see all the dirt that came out of the commutator. There's more here. Okay. Now, as I said, you can also pull the magnet out if you like. I'm not a fan of doing this, but just so I don't lose orientation of everything. So, and now we can just clean the insides here. So I'm just going to keep it like that, so I know exactly how this goes right back. And I'm going to clean that. So clean the inside here first. Yeah, there's some dirt, but nothing too horrible. Okay, so I'm going to place it back the way I took it up, and I'm going to do the same here. Now I'm going to clean the magnet, but I'm going to not change the orientation, so I know exactly how I took it out. Ooh, that's a lot of gunk in there. Okay, and I'm gonna put it back the way I took it out. There you go. Alright, now we're going to clean the commutator with some Brasso because there's still some residue that you can see here on the commutator. It doesn't come really clean because some of that stuff is embedded now into the copper because of the constant grinding of the brushes on there, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some I just opened up the bottle here and some squeezed out, but I'm going to put some Brasso on here. Take a little bit on here, and then you'll see this come crystal clean. And what this does is it actually polishes the commutator such that it's nice and smooth. And the process of doing that, it actually removes all the embedded gunk that's got embedded right into the copper. Okay, so you can see a dull hazy look right now on the commutator. That's because it's just been the compound is still there, but now as I start to clean it up, you're gonna see it's gonna come really clean. And now I'm going to put some contact cleaner again just to get some of that Brasso residue out. And just gonna now dry it up with a dry cotton bud here. And there you go. Now that's the difference between a clean commutator and the one that was there before. I guess it's hard time to focus here on the camera, but you can see the big difference. Alright, now we can clean the faceplate. And now we're going to clean the bearing and the two copper brush holders as well. So for that I do have a very narrow cotton bud. I have a narrow cotton bud here that I can use to clean the inside. Now, before I do that, I also want to make sure I don't forget to share this with you. I typically use a toothpick here or a dental pick. I actually do have a dental pick, but both will work. This is a dental pick, and I use this to clean in between the commutator gaps here to make sure there's no carbon residue that's sitting in there. And there it is. There's some here, as you can see, and that actually tends to conduct mildly between each of the commutator segments and has some erratic results on your motor. So it's good to clean that up. Alright, that's good. So now let's go back here, put some contact cleaner, and this is gonna clean the bearing in here, bearing housing. There you can see it's some dirt. And clean the brush housings. It's quite dirty. Wow, that's a lot of dirt. All right. So now the motor is ready to be reassembled again. The faceplate back on. Remember, the long screw actually goes on top of the red insulating washer that sits between the chassis and this coil. So here's a long screw. Put that in there. Two shorter screws go in here. Okay, so before we go any further with this motor, there really isn't much. As I mentioned before, we've cleaned the inside, we've cleaned the commutator. The brushes are still soaking in the contact cleaner, and now I'm going to clean up the drive mechanism. I put some lubrication on there, etc. as well, and clean the wheels, and then we'll attach the drive mechanism right back to the motor, and then we can move to the rear section of the locomotive. Now we're going to clean this one. These gear will seem quite dry, so I'm going to pop the circlips out of here, or the C-clips. I did have a tool for this, I just can't find it. I used to have a tool for popping these out. There we go. These things tend to fly all over the place, so make sure you're very careful they don't go flying across the room. So right now I like to place these in the same order. They're the same gears, but I just don't want to mix them up because they have a specific wear pattern that has actually settled in, so I don't want to mess with that. So there, I'm just going to keep the this gear with its washer, with its circlip separately, and this one has a smaller circlip. The second gear. There you go. And I can clean the shafts and the gears inside. Now I don't like to remove the wheels because they're properly gauged and I don't want to muck around with them, and they're usually pretty clean, so I'm just going to lubricate the bearings in here, and put some clean up here, and then put some lubrication on there. We should be good to go. So I'm using some isopropyl alcohol here just to clean this up, because there's some plastic gears here, and I want to be careful. I don't want to use the contact cleaner on the plastic gears, just to be cautious. That's all. Just taking out any dust and dirt that's been in here. There isn't much, as you can see, just a little bit of dirt. Just gonna clean that off. Okay. I also do have some electrical cleaner, which is usually very mild, and so I'm just gonna put some of that there. And that evaporates right away. Also removes any moisture that could be left behind here. And you can see that these wheels have traction tires on them, so I'm just going to put some contact cleaner. Sorry, not contact cleaner, because contact cleaner may damage your tires, but I'm putting electrical cleaner. This is quick dry, and it's just very mild alcohol based cleaner. This removes the residue and gunk from the traction tires, and because it's quick drying and evaporates, the tires will retain their traction and doesn't mess with the properties on the tire, on the traction tire. It's clean. I'm gonna put some gear oil in here. So I have been sticking with the Hobby Lube products, and they seem to work pretty well. I typically use the medium oil from Hobby Lube, the medium oil here, the premium one. But I just wanted to try the gear oil that they have. This viscose is a little bit thicker, so I think it'll stay longer on the gears. So it's really a good compromise between putting grease and oil. I think it's really good in between set of viscosity here. So let's try this. And all you need is a little dab. Okay. Now I'm going to clean the gears a bit. They're actually very clean. Didn't have to do anything on them. And you'll notice I'm putting them back the exact same way I took them out. The reason why is because they have developed a certain wear pattern that has settled in now, and I don't want to interfere with that. So look how quiet the transmission is. Wow, it's working very well. Next we're going with this gear, and as you can see I've paired them appropriately, making sure I don't mix them up. If I can only find them right now. So I usually like to cup it here so it doesn't go flying on me. There we go. All right, and now I can put the last gear back on. Nice and clean. There we go. Very quiet. There we go. Wow, that's it's so nice and quiet. It's amazing how well this gear oil works. Okay. All right. Now we can attach the motor back to the chassis assembly, at least to the transmission assembly. And then just screw it back on. Now you make sure that this doesn't get stretched as you tighten it. There you go. Okay. Now we're just going to clean the inside of this truck, and then put the motor assembly right back into that truck. Yeah, quite a bit of gunk in there, that's for sure. This is not going to help the performance of the locomotive in any capacity, but at least it's just it's a good opportunity to clean it up once you're in there. Put a little bit of medium oil on the sliding surface of the chassis of the truck here. Yep. Now let's put this right back. There we go. Right back in there. Now I'm going to leave it like this here and I'll put the brushes in. I could have put the brushes in actually before, maybe I should have done that actually. But let's put the brushes in now. Just need to wipe some of the gunk from the brush here. Yeah, it is soaked really well. The brush is nice and clean. So I'm going to put one brush in there. And in fact, I'm replacing the brushes back to the same socket that they came out from, just to keep things consistent. Well, these are one with a slightly mangled up spring, but I think it's okay. I can straighten out the spring a bit. And it should be fine. Now I do have a spare spring, but I think this is still in good shape. And now I need to get that brush. This brush is also in good shape. Average wear. There's plenty of meat left on the bone here, but you can see because it's been soaking in contact cleaner, all the gunk comes out very easily. Even after it's soaking, there's a little bit of a gunk, and it's just there we go. Well, actually, I think I can put the brush in first here, and then lay the spring in. There we go. And then I'll put the spring back in. Yep, it's sitting fine. Now we're going to replace the cap. Just going to clean the cap here before we put it back in. Yep, got a good grip on it. Let me just center it. And away we go. Second cap. Make sure it's clean. There we go. So both caps are in, brushes are in, and now we can just screw back that one screw over here, and then we'll attach the that'll attach the motor to the truck. You got to make sure you don't strip this little screw because it's fairly delicate. So I always first reverse thread, make sure it actually catches onto a thread. And and then keep moving forward, and you see it to catch properly, and it does. And there, now you can have a good tight seal. There we go. So the motor's done, front truck is done. We're just going to do the rear truck and we're good to go. This one's fairly simple. As you notice, the rear truck does not have a screw at the bottom. That's only because the screw is inside. Now I really have no desire to really pull the insides out because it looks really clean. So I'm going to take a look inside here, and I can show that to you. There you can see the screw that I'm referring to. It's a screw right there, and you remove that screw and you can pull out the contacts and everything. Yeah, maybe I'll do that just to give this a proper clean. I'm gonna pull this bulb out as well because, as you notice, this has been hard wired with a stiff wire, so I'm gonna pull this out as well, so it makes it easier to access this. There we go. So now you can see that screw inside. Right, there's a screw right there, and let's take that out. There we go. And there's a screw that holds it in place. And now we have access to the contacts. And as you'll notice, the far side, or the side closer to the camera, is the contact with a black wire that actually does connect with the chassis. It's not insulated, whereas the insulated one is on the opposite side. As you can see, a little bit of a brown PCB board type of thing insulated there. That's connected to the yellow and black wire here. And this one is the one that's insulated, and also these wheels are insulated as well. Alright, I'm going to clean the contacts here between the wheels and the contact points, and then we'll clean up the wheels as well. We'll put it right back. Actually, now that I'm here, I might as well just clean the inside of this truck as well. Right. The wheels look really clean. Just give them a once over with some Brasso here. Wow, they look really nice and clean now. And now I'm going to put some contact cleaner and remove the residue from the Brasso that's been put on here. And you'll see the wheels come alive and start to shine. and just wipe them all out. Wow, just look at the wheels now. Looks like brand new. Okay, now I'm going to clean the contactors here to make sure that the contact points are nice and clean. So that's basically between the wheel, between the flange here. So put some contact cleaner here, and then just wipe that out. So I'm just going to clean the back of these wheels because that's on against what the wipers pick up. You can see there is dirt at the back of the wheels. Okay, so the wheels are now clean, the wipers are clean. So we're going to put this back. Remember, the black wire was away from me, the colored wire is towards me. I just need to unwind this a bit. There we go. So we're going to put this right back now into the truck. Before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of lubrication on the truck slider here. As you can see, the sliders. So they actually, there you go. And there you go. The truck is back in place. Here's that screw that holds it in place. I'm gonna slide that in there and screw it back down. There you go. Just tighten a bit more. Alright, so that's good. Now we can put all of this back. The bulb clip. Okay, and then we put the screw that holds this little chassis connector. Just can't find my tweezers. I do have a pair of tweezers, but just too lazy to go and grab it. There we go. It's lined up. Truck is in place properly, spinning nicely. So it's the front, nice and smooth. And the wires are fine. Now keep in mind, I have not lubricated the motor yet. I'm going to be doing that before I put everything back in. So I really haven't forgotten. I'm just waiting to do that at the last stage before I put everything back in. Okay, and I'll also be lubricating the bearings here as well. Okay. All right, now let's do the shell. I find that just one little final step really refreshes the locomotive. Now, if you like to have a weathered look and have all the dirt on there, well, that's fair as well, and it's up to you. And I typically like the clean look on them, if possible. And the soap is really mild, so it doesn't affect the paint or anything of that sort. Well, looks a bit better. This shell had seen better days, but at least it's much cleaner now. Let's clean. Let's clean the roof. Yeah, it's a lot of dirt. And then I also like to clean the inside here if I can. It's going to be nasty. Let's take a look. Let's do this side first. Let's not do that. There we go. There's more gunk here too. Wow. Alright, well, you have a relatively clean shell, a roof. Now, let's just do the final step here. Lubricate the motor. So you usually put one dab between the bearing on the drivetrain side. Then move that in a bit. Okay. And then a dab of on the brush side. I move the shaft a bit in and out so that it actually makes its way to the bearing. All right, I think we're good. Should put a little bit here. Okay, I think we're ready to put the shell back on. So just to recap what we have done, first step, pull out the truck from the subframe so that we can take the motor out. We cleaned up the insides of the motor, the magnet, the commutator, cleaned the brushes, put ball back in, put that truck right back into the subframe, came back to the back, removed the PCB board here with the rectifier on here for directional lighting, pull that out, pull the wheels from that chassis as well, cleaned up the wheels and the pickups, the wipers, put them all back, lubricated the gears and the motor, and we cleaned the shell. Now we got to put this back, the lid back. Oops, and I forgot to put that back before I screwed the PCB board down. So let's pull that back out again. This needs to be loose so that this can go in. Pull it up. Goes back in there. Yeah, that was my bad. I forgot about the lead weight. All right, let's put this screw back in again. Okay, so we got the lead weight back in. We have the last screw left, which is good. And we're good to put it back in. Yep. we go. There we go. We got one serviced V100. Alright, let's I guess take it over to the track and see how it runs. Alright, so here we are at the track. I'm just kind of got too many stuff on the track today. I got a few of the locomotives that I've been running and testing, etc. as well. So the only circuit I have available right now is the outer circuit. So let's put it on this one here. And let's see how it goes. Well, I'm going that direction, okay. It's the other way around. Seems to run very well, nice and smooth. Wow, this runs really well. There it goes. It's running very smooth. I like that. I think the service really helped it. And let's get a little bit of high speed here and crank it up a bit. There we go. Alright, hope you found the video useful, and if you have any questions or ideas, comments, put them in the comment section of the video, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. Alright, hope you have a good day, and talk to you soon.